Hey teachers and staff, I wanted to make a video showing us how to separate our exams between periods when we have linked classes. At the beginning of the year, we either did section linking or cross listing. And I think uh, I'm not still not clear on the difference of those two, but in my Schoology, for instance, all my students are on one single roster. And so when I post something, every student can see it unless I take measures to prevent that. So I don't want my exam for my first period class on Tuesday to be able to be viewed by the fifth or sixth or seventh period class for later in the week. I want them to take their exam at the right time and see their exam at the right time. So there's a couple of different ways that we can prevent that from happening. One is individually assigning. I'm going to show you how to do that, and we'll go back to these other options in the video. So in my exam folder, I've also got my study guides, and you can see that I have individually assigned them. I have one for my regular ed classes, and I have one for my gifted classes. They are slightly different. I didn't mean to click that. And so I've individually assigned it. So the gifted class cannot see this study guide here, and the regular ed class cannot see this one. So the same principle can be used for our exams. So I'm going to go ahead and create my exam. And then I want to make sure I've got all my, everything else that I want to do with it. And the last thing I'm going to do is individually assign it. And I can do this after I've created it, so it's not a big deal, but I'm going to click individually assign, and then I can add course members or grading groups. If you've already set up different periods as grading groups, I know at one point I had my group A and group B into different grading groups. That doesn't matter anymore, obviously, because we're all together again. But if you've set up grading groups already for each period, this becomes very easy for you because then you can simply just type, first period, whatever you've named the grading group, and then assign it. And that can be your exam. And then only first period will be able to see that assessment that you've created, that exam. So I'm gonna, I can't do that because I don't have a grading group that's called first period, but I do have a regular ed grading group, so only my regular ed students will be able to see this. So it looks like that, and then I'm going to click create, and then I'll get into I would be making all my questions and everything else, right? So if I go back to that folder, it should be there, and I can see that my exam is only available to one group, that being my regular ed group. Okay. So obviously you'd have to do that throughout your day and not throughout your day. You have to do that once or twice a day next week, and then you'd have to do that for every different period. So once my first period exam has concluded, I can then take that off, and then I can change it to my second period grading group. Okay, and so then only the second period will be able to see it. So that's a really easy way to solve this problem that we're dealing with. Some other ways that you can do along with an individually assigning is password protecting. So for instance, you could individually assign and then also have a password on it. So that way, your students still will begin the exam when you want them to, and only that class will be able to even see it. So really simple. Enable password is the options right here, and you choose a password. It might be, first period, your last name. It might be very complex. It's whatever you want. And then you can obviously change that password throughout the week if you want. That is up to you. And then the other option for helping with this is disabling submissions. a little less, a little less effort than creating passwords, but it's very simple. You can enable until, enable from or until, or disable. So I'm going to disable submissions so students cannot submit. Okay. And there is another feature in the same set of features. Usually, yeah. So this one here is published to students. If I create my exam and just click that, it's simply just not even viewable to students. They can't even see that it's there. It's a blanket, not viewable thing. Whereas when I assign something to my regular ed, gifted can't see it, vice versa. But this one is just a toggle. So that's also an option. Okay, so I hope I answered all questions. Again, this is mainly for linked classes where you have one roster in Schoology for your entire for multiple periods. Obviously, if you teach more than one prep, this is less of a problem potentially. But if you teach 2 sections of 10th grade literature, for instance, and have linked those, this may be a solution that that you want to make use of next week. Okay. Please send any more questions about this particular problem my way if I have not fully answered them in the video. I hope I haven't been too verbose or lengthy in this, but I wanted to cover all the bases. So thank you for watching.